Hello guys, Mr. Wednesday here, back at it with another video. So today we actually have a takeover I did for a basically free takeover giveaway I do every week. Actually a lot of them have been done in the past, and I only now obviously started my YouTube journey, so I did not actually record all of them. But with Rottoxor we do have this one recorded. So what have we been up to here? So basically you'll see in the main thumbnail he was actually doing brutal clan boss for like 16 million, so basically like a 2 key. Then we did a bit of coaching, and he actually has gotten to 3 key ultra nightmare, but to 3 key nightmare, but he actually just wasn't able to get onto the ultra nightmare aspect of the game. So even though I really wanted to get him to 3 keying ultra nightmare, we did manage 4 key, which is really secure. I'm gonna show you the teams here really quickly, and then we'll get straight into the fight. The beauty of the team is it is full auto, so that's something to keep in mind. So first of all we have Rottoxor the tower here. This is not a fully unkillable team, it's just a half unkillable team. We're still not protected on the stun, and that's one of the reasons we just do not 3 key here. So with Rottoxor I actually couldn't get him into lifesteal gear, and it's fine. I figured out a way how to not get him targeted on the stun. So he actually just needs 246 speed. I did overshoot by 3, given that we just did not have any other speed gear basically to change up. It was either gonna be 244 or 249, so that's something to keep in mind. Now I really wish we could have gotten any crit rate here, but sadly we just couldn't. I do want to really just recheck once more just to make sure I'm not incorrect. Yeah, so basically -10, -9, -14 there, -14 again, and there's actually just no speed here. Now when it comes to immortal gear, I believe it was the same thing. Yeah, just no speed sadly. And we did need this one immortal set because I did want him to be able to heal back up, because as you'll see we are actually not fully in sync at least until the turn 6. We do not get stunned even once, so we are fully in sync when it comes to blocking the stun, just not when it comes to blocking the damage on AoE 1 and 2. And as I mentioned, he's just the only one I really did not want to get stun on, because even after our first champion dies he still gets to go on, and we do just a bit more damage to secure the run. Now I'm actually really quickly just gonna go through the gear here and in the meantime explain the idea behind the team. I just really want to recheck once more that there's no good crit rate here, because I really do wish we could have gotten away with a crit rate glove here to actually increase our chance at getting a 3 key here, but we just couldn't, I believe. So yeah, there's just no good speed rolls when it comes to crit rate gloves, so that's just something we could not do here. So as I said, 246 speed, well-known speed number, not really something I figured on my own, so I do want to mention that. And then when it comes to Geomancer, we have actually everybody else in lifesteal sets. I'll just really quickly go over the speeds here. So basically you just want Geomancer to be 172 to 178. Any speed will work. 174 works, 175 works, basically anything between 172 and 178 is going to be okay. The biggest problem with Geomancer was actually getting him enough accuracy, because as you can see we have actually a resistance banner here, because we actually have no other banner that was gonna be more beneficial to us. Attack just wasn't gonna be it, and we actually have like no other banners. You'll definitely see throughout the builds that there's a lot of 4-star gear, even like uncommon and common gear, so there's definitely room for improvement here. So yeah, just 30% crit rate, we just could not get more. 228 accuracy. I really wish we could have gotten to like 235 perhaps, but again, it just wasn't happening. Then we have Mauso Mage, who's gonna work as our stun blocker here. So you just want him to be 171 speed on the dot, because you do want him to go last before the stun, so he can actually block it. Now again, I just went for as much HP and defense here, so he can actually use him elsewhere too. He's not really speedy. I tried to figure out perhaps some other different speeds in which he could have been faster. Sadly, it just wasn't happening, so we went with the speeds we have here for you. Then we have Fane. Fane is gonna have 241 accuracy. I did manage to get 100% crit rate onto her because she does hit at least a bit stronger than other champions we'll be using here, and then just as much crit damage as we could have fit in, as well as the attack. Now, as I said, we have like 4-star here, 4-star here, so definitely room for improvement. And then actually finally is gonna be our Frozen Banshee here, who does have an uncommon ring, as you can see. Again, when it comes to stats, I just wish we could have gotten away with just a bit more accuracy, but actually everything is glyphed already. And then again, as I said, just 172 to 178 speed, wherever you can get her in. As for the masteries, I did go for the offense and defense trees here. Some of the masteries do differentiate, so I will show each and every one of them. I just went basically for the War Master route, your typical clan boss build when it comes to the getting War Master here as the tier 6. And then I do want her to be able to perhaps counter attack when it comes to the stun damage that we'll be getting, because there's a 20% there's a 50% chance to counter attack when this champion loses 25 of their max HP or more. And as I said, if we can just get a tad bit more counter attacks in, especially throughout the first 6 turns, I just really wanted to maximize the damage output we can get away with. Now for Fane, I believe we actually went for a different kind of masteries here, because we actually needed the Lord of Steel. I'm gonna explain really quickly why. She's at 172 speed, which is the lowest, as I said. And now the problem is actually we could not get away with more speed while actually being able to get 100% crit rate and actually get her accuracy to where it needed to be, as well as increasing the crit damage as much as possible. So I did have to go for Lord of Steel, and it works just perfectly. Now when it comes to the Geomancer, I believe he has the similar masteries here as Fane. I do want to say one thing, and I'm actually gonna really quickly check if no, it's not a free. I wish we could have gotten Heart of Glory. These are the masteries we already had on him, basically. I do wish we could have gotten Heart of Glory just to increase just a tad bit of his damage. Sadly, we just couldn't, because I really do not want to spend 150 gems for my client just to get that. If he wants to do that himself, I'll recommend, of course. Now, the only 2 masteries you cannot get on basically anyone here are going to be our Arcane Celerity on all the champions who places debuff, because we cannot have them going any faster at any point of the run. We do not want them to increase the turn meter. Now the same will go for basically somebody like a Rush Guard and the Mauso Mage here when it comes to buff in rapid response, because again, we cannot have that turn meter increase because it will throw the tune off. As for the last ones, I again had to go for the Lord of Steel here. Even in the 2 speed set we have here, and if we actually would have gotten with 1 more speed instead of Immortal, we still would have been really short on the speeds we needed in case we did not have Lord of Steel. So that's something I had to go for in these builds. Perhaps you have just a tad bit better gear and you can get away with actually going with different masteries, so that's something to keep in mind. Now I do want to say he is fully booked. I told my client just to book out the A3. Sadly, the books just weren't cooperating. And then I believe actually everybody else is booked as well. It's very, very important you actually do book the A2 on Mauso Mage here, so actually he actually gets his skill back every 3 turns. And then when it comes to Feign, she's again just fully booked, and I'm gonna say the same thing here for Frozen Banshee. Now I'm gonna just really quickly show you the run. I'm gonna first of all show you the preset. We did test the comp once already, so as you can actually see, we did just about 20 million, close to 21. Now as for the presets, you do wanna just close off the second ability of Rorgard. He is gonna prioritize A3 then obviously, so you do not actually have to tell him to prioritize. I just wanted to be super careful. Now when it comes to Mauso Mage, you actually cannot have him use his A3 because of this part. Fills each ally's turn meter by 15% if 2 or more debuffs are removed from that ally. Now we will not be having 2 or more debuffs here, but again, just, you know, I really wanted to be super careful. If we could have gotten him to again 4-3 ratio speeds, that would have been even better, because this team with how it's set up right now will not work against Spirit Affinity, so you do have to keep that in mind. My client was actually super happy with this. He's always awake when clan boss resets, so he can actually always get his keys in when it's Void Affinity. And then again on Spirit, you will need somebody to block or cleanse off the affinity debuffs as well. One person who comes to mind, because Mauso Mage really is not going to be dealing a lot of damage here, is definitely Doom Priest. Doom Priest would be terrific here. I would have loved if we could have actually gotten her. Sadly, we just don't have her on this account. And there's obviously a lot more different champions who do the cleanse, so he is very changeable here. Like basically none of these champions here are actually needed, right? The only champion we 100% need here is gonna be obviously Rorgard for his block damage. For the other 4, you can use basically anybody else. If you perhaps have, I don't know, like a Draco, then you can go for another damage dealer, because Draco is basically gonna do what Frozen Banshee and Feign do together. You can obviously fit somebody else in. You can fit even perhaps somebody like a Brogni here to actually reflect a bit of the damage when it comes to this stun. That would actually work perfectly, because it would allow us to survive more when it comes to stun, because you'll see Geomancer dying at about turn 38. So basically that's all I want to say when it comes to the champion choices. Now as for Feign, I do have her prioritizing this skill. I'm just gonna really quickly change that, because I noticed Frozen Banshee and her do not sync in when it comes to her poisons and Frozen Banshee's poison sensitivity, because poison sensitivity will increase the damage dealt by the poisons. So I really wanted them to sync in when it comes to that, so I'm just gonna change it up like this. Now Geomancer is actually going to get his first turn at AoE 2 in the initial start of the fight, so I'm just again gonna do this, because I did have him to open with A1 just for testing purposes, which I now see we actually will not be needing, and this should even perhaps just increase the damage a tad bit more. That's basically everything I want to cover when it comes to the presets. Now I'm just gonna go really quickly here. As I said, a full auto team, so I'm just gonna mute my mic here, and I'm gonna speed up the rest of the fight, and then I'll come back to you when it's done. there we go. So actually with this damage right here we do in fact tricky. I'm still not gonna like title video for clickbait or anything. I'm not that type of person. So obviously the first run was in this case, since we do see the increase of damage, just a tad bit worse RNG run. Basically if you can fit anybody else instead of Geomancer here, like an even like maybe like an ally attack champion, counter attack champion, perhaps you have a Demita, you would just last like couple of turns more, and that would secure the 3 key. So again, with just the small improvements to the gear here, it's gonna be a really nice 3 key team for Rottoxor here, and I'm actually really happy with the outcome of this takeover here. So without further ado, I'm gonna call the end of the video right here. I'm gonna thank you all for stopping by and watching the video. If you like the content, please do subscribe for basically more videos. I do post at least 4 times a week, sometimes more, never less. Again, just thank you all. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. And until the next video, Mr. Wednesday signing out.